Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. This is the way. This is the way. The holy name, the Maha Mantra, especially. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. The mind's a tricky fellow, very, very tricky. And the mind has been in control for a very long time. Hare Krishna, Hare, many, many births actually. It's the quality of the mind that carries the soul from one body to another. So the mind has been running the show for quite a while. Since you can't even count how long. So now the mind is running up against Krishna. And this is recommended for this age, is this chanting, Hare Krishna. And it's like, I have a mind. Oh boy, do I have a mind. But so does everybody else. And when we communicate with each other and we spend time with each other and socialize, we're social beings, in our contaminated state, even, we're social beings. The other minds of those that we're hanging out with, the minds play off of each other in the contaminated state. And it's very tricky, because not only do you have your own mind to deal with, but then the others around you, and who you're dealing with, and whatever, their minds. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. It's very tricky, because just like the mind is trying to convince, say, me, that everything's good, they've got it under control. It's like the mind is concerned about job security, they're doing its job, trying to satisfy the senses and make things nice for the body, because that's the mind's program. Mind doesn't have any intelligence. Intelligence is a whole nother energy, a whole nother, just like there's electricity and there's hydroelectric and there's heat and different energies. In physics, there's different energies. Well, on the spiritual plane, there are different, there are subtle energies, which the material scientists have tried to kind of analyze some of the psychology of the mind like this. And intelligence, they really haven't been able to fathom very much about. I mean, you got these IQ tests, right? Square holes and round pegs, and but that's not. No, that's not that's not actually intelligence. Right? Doesn't really get to the heart of it. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. It's like, just like the mind is concerned about the welfare of the body. Not really even the welfare of the body, just the sense gratification. If you get some request from the senses, then the mind scurries around trying to figure out how to, hungry, okay, what are we going to eat? Cold, okay, how do we get warm? All sensual stuff, the mind. The intelligence is actually concerned with, is very, very close to the soul. And when the intelligence is actually doing its job, then the intelligence, that energy, that spirit, is concerned with the welfare of the soul, what the soul needs, what the soul wants, and how to go to Krishna, and how to avoid things that will keep someone from Krishna. Hare Krishna. But the intelligence isn't always active. Sometimes the intelligence is out to lunch. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare. Kind of overwhelmed by the material, physical condition and the demands, the struggle for survival. You know, gotta have money, gotta have a place to live, gotta stay safe, gotta stay healthy, gotta this, that, struggle for survival. This person's my enemy, I have to see how to deal with the enemy, and I have to make an alliance with this person, they're my friend because they're going to help me in my bodily identification. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare. Struggle for survival. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. But nobody survives, not materially. But still, the struggle goes on. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna. When that backs off, that struggle for survival, that backs off, then spiritual access to the spiritual atmosphere, it's possible to access the spiritual atmosphere. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna. It works the other way too. You know, if someone they're not struggling for survival, they're really well off. I mean, they've got plenty of money, they get a nice place to live, they're in good health, they look nice, they may even have some talent or some ability. That can be a problem too. Because you become saturated with all of that, and then, well, who really cares about spiritual? Hare Krishna, not really. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare. I'm the cat's meow. Hare Krishna. It's very tricky. It's very, very tricky. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. I had a visit from someone recently who is a devotee, but the mind. Oh my God, the mind. The problem is they have no taste for the holy name. That's the problem. So with the mind, they're trying to understand and analyze, and they're attracted to other teachings and other paths and other names of God even, because they have no taste for Krishna. All it takes to get a taste for Krishna is to call out once in complete helplessness. Just call out to Krishna. Crying helps too. What do you cry? You cry. Learn to cry for Krishna. Otherwise, the mind, so strong, it goes here, it goes there, it goes everywhere. So I had this visit from this person, this devotee, struggling like this, who insists that they're not struggling, that they're fine, everything's good. They're in a really good place, they're very happy. But they're not chanting Hare Krishna, they have no taste for the holy name. So what is it? It's the mind. Somehow the mind has made some arrangement for their sense gratification, for their like kind of a peaceful state, but no taste for Krishna. They're looking into all different kinds of teachings, and there's one specific path that's interesting them, and they've given up, their Krishna stuff, Yeah. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. And they're looking at me like there's something wrong with me because all I want is Krishna. They're looking at me like, how could I have such a strong taste for the holy name, Krishna, and not be attracted to all this other whatever that they're filling themselves with? Like Krishna. I did the best I could without actually killing them. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare. But this is what happens. Is it's not just your own mind. It's you come in contact with people. He's making a sales pitch. He's trying to tell me how wonderful it is what he's doing, and it's so wonderful. And in other words, I should try it too. In other words, he's drinking poison. And I should come and drink poison with him because it would be fun to do. Yeah. Where's Nishingadev? Where is he? Is he here? Yes! He's here. Hare Krishna. But it's very tricky. It's really tricky. To listen to this person, you'd think they really had something. Well, what do they have? They've got an overactive mind. And they have no taste for the holy names of the Lord. They have all these little tricks to avoid surrendering to Krishna. It's like everything else but Krishna. Everything and anything else but Krishna. Part of the reason is that, there's philosophy there for the mind to grab onto. There's things for the mind to do in Krishna consciousness, but without actually tasting the holy name. And you get those big old tears coming down in complete helplessness and surrender to that incarnation of God in his holy name. Sound, incarnation and sound, then that mind is going to drag here and there, looking for whatever it's looking for when it's right there. It's in the name Krishna. You just have to grab the bull by the horns and call out for Krishna. And give that mind a good swift kick in the butt. But we've been worshiping the mind for a long time. The mind's been dragging us all over this creation and previous creations for who knows how long. Can't even count. It's not even something you can measure with time even. Hare Krishna, and now the opportunity is here to connect with Krishna. And this fool Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna. Krishna's making these arrangements, that this person came to visit. That's Krishna's arrangement. And it certainly got a fire under my butt going. I was kind of sitting back, just really, Krishna, this is wonderful. And then that showed up at the door. And I'm like, oh my God, Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. So I'm grateful, actually, for that person being very honest and straightforward about the condition that they're in, but they didn't see anything wrong with it. So I wish them well, I wish them well. And I pray that they can get a taste, because that will solve everything. That's really all they're looking for. Just like my spiritual master, Prabhupada, he said the alcoholic, the way to preach to them is to tell them the taste they're looking for when they're drinking alcohol is Krishna. And that every time they go to indulge in that intoxicant, if they think, I'm looking for Krishna, I'm looking for... Eventually, they'll have Krishna. And they won't even really need the alcohol. They won't need the substance, because they'll have Krishna. Krishna, the holy name of Krishna is so powerful. That's not a license for people to go out and drink. That's not the recommended process. But for someone who has that addiction, if they do like that, it will help them. To connect with Krishna. So with all this mental stuff that this person is doing, they're looking for Krishna. They're looking for Krishna. If they would get it, that that's what they're actually looking for, is Krishna, then all that mental stuff will go away, and then they'll just have Krishna. It's like that with everything material. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. This chanting is so powerful. So powerful, the holy name of the Lord. And especially given to us by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the mood of separation from Krishna. That's how we actually get the mercy, is through Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his bona fide representatives. So, we read some Krishna book here about Krishna and the Gopis. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu makes it clear that the method of worship of the Gopis is by far the most superior. That they are in an intimate, loving exchange with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, not even considering that he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but just that he's the most lovable person, and like that. So this is finishing up here, the chapter from, it's a summary study of the 10th canto of the Bhagavatam by my spiritual master, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. So finishing up song by the Gopis. So they're offering all these different prayers and questions to Krishna. And they've just asked a very significant question. It says that they're a little on the angry side. They're feeling a little angry with Krishna. Evidently he's not reciprocating the way they would like him to. He's been playing with them all along. But they ask, Dear Krishna, we are ordinary women of Vrindavan and we do not know much about Vedic knowledge. What is right and what is wrong? We therefore put a question to you, and since you are very learned, you can answer it properly. In dealing between lovers, we find there are 3 classes of men. One class simply receives. Another class reciprocates favorably, even if the lover is very contrary. And the third class neither acts contrary nor answers favorably in dealings of love. So, out of these 3 classes, which do you prefer, or which do you call honest? In answer, Krishna said, My dear friends, persons who simply reciprocate the loving dealings of the other party are just like merchants. They give in loving affairs as much as they get from the other party. Practically, there's no question of love, It is simply business dealing. And it is self-interested or self-centered. Better the second class of men who love in spite of the opposite party's contrariness. Even those without a tinge of loving affairs are better than the merchants. Sincere love can be seen when the father and mother love their child in spite of their children's neglect. The third class neither reciprocates nor neglects. They can be further divided into two classes. One is the self-satisfied, who do not require anyone's love. They are called Atmarama, which means they are absorbed in the thought of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and do not care whether one loves them or not. But another class are ungrateful men. They are called callous. The men in this group revolt against superior persons. For instance, a son, in spite of receiving all kinds of things from loving parents, may be callous and not reciprocate. Those in this class are generally known as Guru Druha, which means they receive favors from the parents or the spiritual master and neglect them. Krishna indirectly answered the questions of the Gopis, even those questions which implied that Krishna did not properly receive their dealings. In answer, Krishna said that he, as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is self-satisfied. He does not require anyone's love, but at the same time, he said, he's not ungrateful. My dear friends, Krishna continued, you might be aggrieved by my words and acts, but you must know that sometimes I do not reciprocate with my devotees' dealings with me. It appears that my devotees are very much attached to me, but sometimes I do not reciprocate their feelings properly in order to increase their love for me more and more. If I can very easily be approached by them, they might think Krishna is so easily available. So sometimes I do not respond. If a person has no money, but after some time accumulates some wealth and then loses it, he will think of the lost property 24 hours a day. Similarly, in order to increase the love of my devotees, sometimes I appear to be lost to them, and instead of forgetting me, they feel their loving sentiments for me increase. My dear friends, do not think for a moment that I have been dealing with you just like ordinary devotees. I know what you are. You have forsaken all kinds of social and religious obligations. You have given up all connections with your parents. Without caring for social convention and religious obligations, you have come to me and loved me, and I am so much obliged to you that I cannot treat you as ordinary devotees. Do not think that I was away from you. I was near to you. I was simply seeing how much you were anxious for me in my absence. So please, do not try to find fault in me. Because you consider me so dear to you, kindly excuse me if I have done anything wrong. I cannot repay your continual love for me, even throughout the lifetimes of the demigods and the heavenly planets. It is impossible to repay you or show you gratitude for your love. Therefore, please be satisfied by your own pious activities. You have displayed exemplary attraction for me, overcoming the greatest difficulties arising from family connections. Please be satisfied with your highly exemplary character, for it is not possible for me to repay your debt. The exemplary character of devotional service manifested by the devotees of Vrindavan is the purest type of devotion. It is enjoined in authoritative Shastra that devotional service must be ahaituki and pratyata. This means that devotional service to Krishna cannot be checked by political or religious convention. The stage of devotional service is always transcendental. The Gopis particularly showed pure devotion toward Krishna, so much so that Krishna himself remained indebted to them. Lord Chaitanya thus said that the devotional service manifested by the Gopis in Vrindavan excelled all other methods of approaching the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purport of the 31st chapter of Krishna, Songs by the Gopīs. I read that last night, but hey, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So the next chapter, it's fairly long, is chapter 32. It's the description of the Rasa dance. So we're going to read that next time, Krishna willing. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Govinda Hare, Gopala Hare, Jai Jai Deva Hare.